Today you're going to learn about the Pythagorean theorem, and you've been given a notes sheet, and you should have a blank piece of paper. So what I want you to do is on a blank piece of paper is you're going to draw a right triangle. And all a right triangle is it's a triangle, and it forms a 90-degree angle. And we are going to have three sides, A, B, and C. Sides A and B form the 90-degree angle, and they are called your legs. Side C is the longest side, and it's always directly across from the 90-degree angle, and it is called the hypotenuse. So I want you to have this diagram written down so that it's something that you can refer to. Okay, so we're going to look at the front side of that note sheet, and I want you to look right up here where it says finding the hypotenuse and finding the leg. And we're going to cross a couple things out. So where it says finding the hypotenuse, I want you to circle that a squared plus b squared equals c squared, and we're going to cross out that bottom part. We're really going to focus on using this every single time we have a problem. But we're really going to use this for finding the hypotenuse and for finding the leg. So we're going to ignore this stuff as well. So let's look under where it says guided practice. It says given a right triangle, if side A equals 4 inches and side B equals 8 inches, what is the measurement of side C? Round to the nearest hundredth. So if you need to, and I would always recommend this, is to draw a picture. So if I draw a picture of my right triangle, and remember I told you A and B form the legs. So it says side A is 4 inches, side B is 8 inches, and we're finding C. So I'm just going to leave that as a C. Step 1 says determine whether you are missing a short side or the long side. And remember I said the long side is the hypotenuse. So in this case, looking at our picture, we are missing the long side. So we're going to fill in long right here. Then in step 2, it says substitute the given information into the formula. So they already have the formula written for you under step 2. So all we're going to do is 4 squared plus 8 squared equals c squared. So that's how we're going to start off this. Step 3 says to solve for the missing variable. So if you need your calculator, I'd go ahead and get that out, but we're just going to start solving. So 4 squared is 16, so I'm going to rewrite that as 16 plus 64 equals c squared. We can simplify that one step further and we can go 80 equals c squared. In part D, or step D, it says to undo a square, we use a square root. And that's important. So what I would like for you to do is circle this, because this is the most important step, where we have, and I'm going to go over here to do this because I'm running out of space, we have 80 equals c squared. What we want to do is get rid of this square. So what we're going to do is we're going to take the square root and it cancels it out. And whatever I do to one side, I have to do to the other. So in your calculator, you're just going to do the square root of 80. And we're going to say C, and we're going to use those squiggly lines because we're rounding. C is about 8.94, and we need to include a unit, so inches. So that would be my final answer, and you can have that written right there, okay? All right, so I want you, with the person sitting next to you, to try this B right up here. If you need to draw a picture, go ahead, but I just want you to do step 1 and step 2, and we're going to pause the video, and you're going to take about a minute to a minute and a half to get those two done. So go ahead and pause the video now and work on those first 2 steps. Okay, so it says given a right triangle, so let me draw that right triangle. If side A is 3 inches and side C is 10 inches, what is the measurement of side B? Now, I didn't say this in the first slide. It doesn't matter if you have these flip-flopped. So if you had 3 and B flip-flopped on your triangle, your answer is still going to be the same. What is the measurement of side B rounded to the nearest hundredth? So in step 1, determine whether you're missing a short side or a long side. In this case, we are missing the short side. So substitute in the given information. So here we're going to have 3 squared plus B squared equals 10 squared. And this is slightly different from that first problem. So let's go ahead and practice just together as a large group how to solve. So I'm going to just simplify everything. So I'm going to say 9. Oops, I'm so sorry. We're going to say 9 plus B squared equals 100. Now what we're going to have to do is we need to get that B squared alone. So we need to subtract 9 or add a negative 9 to both sides. So we have B squared equals 91. And then just like in the last problem, to undo that square root or that square, we use a square root. So we're going to go B squared equals 91. I am going to do the square root so it cancels out that square. Get your calculator out. So we're going to say B is about 9.54 inches. So what I want you to do is I want you to do this second part, this bottom part. Fill it all the way through with your partner. Figure out if it was like the first problem or the second problem. And then in about 3-4 minutes, go ahead and press play again and compare your answer to mine. Okay, so in this one, they said find the missing side length of the given triangle. So notice this one side does not have a variable. So you could really make that A or B. I'm going to make it A, which is the short side. So I'm going to substitute that in and I'm going to go A squared plus 7 squared equals 12 squared. And then I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to solve that. So I'm going to say A squared plus 49 equals 144. I'm going to subtract 49 from both sides, and I get A squared equals 95. I'm going to take the square root. So A is about 9.75 feet. So I would like for you should have another sheet of paper out. We're just going to do a couple more with your partner and then with on your own, and then you guys can get started on the homework. So let's take a look at this one. It says find the measure of side C if A equals 5 inches and B equals 9 inches. Round to the nearest tenth if necessary. Make sure you read the directions tonight to know where you round. So if you need to make a picture, that's great. If you don't, that's fine as well. So I'm actually just going to plug in right away, and I'm going to go 5 squared plus 9 squared equals C squared. So go ahead, pause the video, and finish it on your own. Okay, so what you should have done is 25 plus 81 equals C squared, which gives me 96 equals C squared. I'm going to take the square root of both sides. So C is about 9.8 inches. All right, I want you to do this one with your partner, so go ahead and start it, and then in about 2 minutes you can play the video. Okay, so what you should have done is 2 squared plus B squared equals 12 squared. So we have 4 plus B squared equals 144. Subtract that 4. So B squared equals 140. Take that square root. So B is about 11.83, or actually 11.8 inches. So I feel like that's enough examples. So your homework is not going to be on this, but rather it's on page 256, I believe, in your record and practice. We are going to have a quiz on the quadratic formula tomorrow. So I want you to practice that one more time. Finding the quadratic and finding the discriminant, and you're going to do that with your partner, and you're going to have the rest of the period to work. Answers are on Edline, and then we'll pick up this concept tomorrow.